So, in summary, we need people to take more personal actions, we need people who can take more professional actions, and we need people who can take more community actions. But how do we get more people to do this? Well, the answer is education. Nelson Mandela famously said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. This is where education for sustainable development, or the concept of ESD, comes in. UNESCO says that education for sustainable development, or ESD, allows every human being to acquire the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values necessary to shape a sustainable future. According to UNICEF and the World Bank, there are currently 1,240,000,000 children in primary and secondary schools around the world. That's almost 20% of the world population. Imagine if these children were educated to become global citizens that will live sustainable lifestyles, that will prioritize sustainable development in their future careers, and actively support their community in this transformation. That's the potential that education has to change the world. It could create a movement of more than 1 billion people who take personal, professional, and community actions for sustainable development and the SDGs. That's how you achieve transformation. And guess what? It actually works. The education for sustainable development works. As an example, PricewaterhouseCoopers, or PwC, a company, they conducted a study where they held a number of 1-hour-long interactive classes with school students on the SDGs. Children took part in lively debates among themselves and with their teachers, and talked about why each of the SDGs are important, and took part in learning more about them. The results of the pilot were extraordinary, because they found that 78% of those children said they now felt more confident to talk about the SDGs outside of school. And 92% of those children said they cared more about social and environmental issues after learning about the SDGs. Imagine doing that with every single child or student in primary or secondary school now. And not just one lesson, but imagine if sustainable development and the SDGs are integrated into the curriculum. So children can continue to learn throughout the years, help them develop the principles, the knowledge and skills needed for them to become the sustainable development generation. But how do we reach and educate these children? Well, you see, school students and children are always under the protection of 2 layers, schools and teachers. So to educate children, we first need to bring schools and teachers on board. They are actually the true agents who can enable us to reach children and achieve this transformation. The momentum for education for sustainable development has never been stronger. Global issues such as climate change urgently require a shift in our lifestyles and a transformational way in the way we think. To achieve this change, we need the new skills, values, and attitudes that lead to more sustainable societies. Education systems need to respond to this pressing need by defining the relevant learning objectives and learning contents, and introducing pedagogies that empower learners, and urging their institutions to include sustainability principles in their structures. But why should schools care about this? They have their own challenges, they have their own priorities. Why should they care about education for sustainable development? Number one, because the future of our planet depends on schools and their ability to nurture responsible leaders. Schools are the core foundations of our society. They are the epicenters for future generations to learn, nurture, learn knowledge, and create connections that will define the world that will live in the future. More than ever, the world needs schools to continue the critical role of raising awareness and addressing pressing global challenges. They need to prepare tomorrow's leaders and the citizens to have a positive impact. 2, the results of the pilot in PwC, as I mentioned earlier, found that 78% of children said they now felt more confident to talk to people outside of school about the SDGs, and 92% said they cared more about environmental and social issues. So it actually works. So schools can actually do it, and it works. But also, you're creating a more dynamic students and learning objectives that are better. They have more skills, more knowledge. And as a practical framework, the SDGs actually give educators the opportunity and the framework to introduce complex local and global issues like gender inequality, local poverty, racism, and many others, while also empowering students in making a difference in their communities. So it works and has an impact. And finally, because teaching the SDGs is a powerful opportunity for teachers and educators to take part in a worldwide movement and to join a vibrant community of education specialists eager to make a difference. All around the world, schools and educators who are leaders are using the SDGs to rethink their role in the 21st century and to respond to societal needs and environmental changes. From the United States to India, to Kenya, to Australia, schools are taking leadership and creating new pedagogical contents, including finding ways to engage students and setting an example within their community. So in summary, schools and teachers are in a unique position to educate future generations of community leaders, consumers, voters, and citizens on the world's biggest challenges and to inspire them to take action today. More than half of the population of the planet is currently under the age of 13, the biggest the world has ever seen. This puts educators in a truly unique position of influence and impact for the future of the planet. Schools and teachers have a tremendous opportunity to empower billions of young people to become leaders and pioneers for a movement for a better and more sustainable future. You're nearly halfway through our modules. In the next level, we will go to the depths of the Global Schools program and the perspective behind creating it. See you in the next module.